fortunate to have with us Professor Sadagopan, Director IIIT Bangalore, as the keynote speaker for this symposium. Dr. Sadagopan, before joining IIIT Bangalore, has taught earlier at two premier educational institutes in this country, the Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur, and the Indian Institute of Management, Bangalore. He obtained his undergraduate engineering degree from Madras University and master's and doctoral degrees from Purdue University, USA. He is a fellow of the IEEE, the Computer Society of India, and Institution of Engineers, India. I now request Dr. Sadagopan to give his keynote address.
Good morning, friends. It's a pleasure and honor to be with you all. So what I thought was that I will spend maybe about 7-8 minutes on three strands of thought. One is what I call count the blessings. Second thing is the challenge. Third thing is, after all, when you call the professors, we cannot live without professing. So we'll talk a little bit about the philosophy. It's important because we don't lose the context. Let me start with the first one. Devjani ma'am probably may not know. I'm just taking liberty with you that when this authority was being talked about, so there are very few countries which have even heard about this. I still remember the day we had a impatient minister. The only reason why IT Act 2000 became IT Act in 2000 was somewhere I just told him that look, if we really act fast, we will be the 12th country in the world to have an IT Act. He said, look, karna hi karna. So, in fact, I can tell you within the closed wall, the first IT Act is a very badly drafted one. Done by an impatient minister with kind of advice from many idiots like me. So that's how it was done. But interestingly, think about it. This country could actually think of something like that in the year 2000. The institutional infrastructure this country has built in IT in the last 10-15 years is amazing. And we had this fairly or well orchestrated registrars, like many people in the government had only heard of two registrars, a registrar of society, a registrar of a company. When you had to tell them there's one more registrar, they thought, look, professor, you are getting confused. The registrars are there in universities, not in government. But we told them you need one. But luckily things have happened. And, look at many things we have done in the last 10 years. You all know that India is a country which has the leader, unquestioned leader by a significant margin in the e-governance. And it is not coming from me, it is coming from Professor Ken Keniston, who used to be the head of technology and society at Massachusetts Institute of Technology. He got us for more credibility. So, and then of course recently that we are adding cell phones. We continue to be, there is one area where India managed to kind of get, lead even over China. Most places, Chinese give us a hard time. There's one area where Chinese give up. It's a very interesting one. Our ability to produce babies. That will continue to be number one. The second interesting stuff is even China is not adding mobile phones at the speed at which we have been doing for the last 18 months. We're adding little more than 15 million every month. There are countries which do not have that many. There are countries which do not add that many in a year. We are adding. So come to think about it. And very recently, the last 2 years, that we got our banking technology cleaned up considerably. I think less than 5 years, complete 100% banks have gone for core banking. And at least our students have never gone to a bank in the last year. Because everything happens on the internet. And last couple of years, there are several committees of the Reserve Bank where we are putting online transactions, we are getting legislative mechanisms, we can do online trading, we can do mobile money transfer, all these things are happening. I don't think any country has done so much in such a short period of time with all the limitations of having still 250 million people possibly are near illiterate. And there are companies like MCheck in this country who managed to get even the IRS start using mobile phone to do some amount of mobile transfer. Some very interesting stuff. So much actually has happened. I think that is something about which this country can be justly proud of. So we need to count our blessings we normally say, politicians are not open to new ideas and stuff like that. At least in IT, significantly the politicians have been extremely supportive. In some sense, they have gone faster than what they should. We have to kind of keep them to ensure that they don't kind of overspeed and fall off the track. So that is a good point. Of course, there are challenges. Okay. Of course, Mr. Ravindran mentioned about some of the challenges. Okay. So while I am so happy that we're all there to kind of help Ravindran to do many things, and proudly we are trying to get 22,000 officers to have digital signatures. But remember, 22,000 is such a small number, right? And let me honestly confess that, for whatever reason, many of you in the civil society, you have been very kind to us. If you are a professor in an IIT or a IIT, we get a lot of respect. But you will be surprised that 95 to 99% of the faculty members of, including the previous institutes, even today, will not have a digital signature. The chances are, you talk to 20, 30 of the directors, maybe you will find one or two having it. And if you actually go to some of the pre-eminent institutes outside of technology, I'm just taking an example, like Rajan comes from a great city called Trivandrum. There's a great institute called Chitra Tirunal Institute of Technology. I'm just taking a guess. I have not had a chance to check. If you go and talk to the director of that institute, he will ask him the question, do you have a digital signature? 99% chances are he will ask you, what is a digital signature? That's the reality. So you have a long way to go before we can, it's one thing to have a formidable PKI infrastructure in place, but where are the users? So that goes back to say that, okay, I'm so happy that you are doing it, but I should also tell you, I'm so unhappy you have to do it 100-fold more. See, evangelism takes time, okay, but evangelism is important, okay, and so I think we do have many of you from the industry, private sector particularly. Your job is to kind of take it. I'm glad that you are doing this job, but I'm kind of unhappy you are also not doing the job at the level at which we ought to be doing, right? Because unless people start using it in a significant way, all the infrastructure that we have built, it's kind of nice to have. Maybe we can win some award, but it does not necessarily translate to benefits. And particularly because, one thing be sure, okay, maybe you and I are the last generation who will go and stand in the queue in a bank or a government office, etc. Your son and daughter is not going to do it. Okay, so they are going to completely go online and mobile. Okay, they are the Facebook generation. Okay, so it's important that both the government and the non-government kind of stuff completely move to some form of electronic vote. So it is still a big challenge. I do hope that you will meet the challenge. Last but not the least, little bit of philosophy. Okay, so be clear that it is important to have security. I think security is important. Okay, keep kind of emphasizing it. At the same time, you also have to be pragmatic. Okay, so if people ask you the question, if it is completely secure, I think better give the honest answer. There is nothing which is 100% safe, because you will be confronted with things, right? You all know that underlying the technology of PKI is a system called encryption, which came from three of my good friends at MIT, whose first names actually start with R, S and A. So they had a company called RSA Corporation, which got acquired a couple of years by another biggie company called EMC. And they are supposed to be the ultimate in technology. You all know exactly what happened 3 days back. Okay, RSA was hacked. Right? That's the reality, right? So, in spite of all these things, Japanese are the best maintenance guys. But look at, 1, 2, 3, 4. In a quick 4 days, okay, maintenance showed up in 4 plants, just not one. Nuclear power plant just getting into problems and the whole country is in trouble. We are not kind of trying to pinpoint, but it is just a fact that in spite of best efforts, I think it is good to remember we are all human beings. To err is human, we all will err. Sometimes things will happen. So let us not try to unduly say that look, everything is secure, because I think we should not have the arrogance of technology, because no plane is absolutely safe, no car is absolutely safe, but it is safe enough for most of us to drive, most of us to fly. PKI is also one of them. So it is important to keep that broader philosophy. So let me kind of close, kind of drive home the point. Okay, some of these things are also mindset. You see, security is also a little bit in the mindset. Let me give you two examples. It's very interesting how people view it. At least I come from southern part of India, more so this Tamil Nadu. Tamil Nadu, there is a tradition, with no disrespect to women, that during the marriage, there are certain things that happen, right? So women are given significant amount of gold jewelry. And most people, including my wife, we move around the northern part of many parts of the world, etc. So what happens is, the asset in some sense becomes the liability, because where do you keep it safe? And you'll be surprised that most of them do not believe their own homes, owned homes or rented homes. They don't believe their own in-laws. Okay, what do they believe? They believe a bank locker. Right? Why do they don't know? They're so attached to it. Okay, sometimes even the Mangal Sutra is kept there. But security is here. And I can tell you, I am old enough to tell you that in the early 60s, banks had a horrendous time. Nobody would use their locker. So between 60s, nobody was using. 70s, they were kind of slowly getting. 80s, no problem. 90s, there's a big queue. You can't get a locker in most big cities. Okay. Let me close with the last one. Okay, so this is again, and some of these things are how you view it. All IITs have a medical center. So because we have a living population, we have a campus, and obviously the children, the students are all, they really hardly have any need for the health center, excepting the fact that once in a while they may want to get a certificate that they're sick, they can actually bunk the exam. So other than that, and luckily the teachers ask tough questions to us, we are reasonably fit. And the campus is so nice, we walk, we cycle, etc. So what happens is, all the IIT or any of these institutions, the medical center is lousy. Okay. Any good doctor will not come. And the not so good doctor, once they come, they will not leave because it's so good. So it is bad. Okay, no doubt about it. But how do you position it? Okay. IIT Delhi, my good friend institute, calls that place a sick bay. IIT Kanpur, we call it health center. Both are bad. It's all a question of position. Okay, so security is also like this. Okay, so security gives you that comfort, but how much comfort it gives? It's a big question. But let us kind of give a nice name. In fact, to some extent, nowadays we should borrow from medicine. Medicine, they don't no longer call it sickness, disease, and stuff like that. They call it wellness. It's not sickness. So let us say use the word trust and not security, because security has a negative connotation. We should say we are building trust. We are giving you comfort. We are giving you peace of mind. You can sleep well. That's what we do. So our job is to assure you good sleep. But I still remember when I was a consultant to Canara Bank, the chairman said, Professor, I don't understand anything of IT. I want just only one thing. Can you assure me? I said, I can't assure you, but I will try. Luckily, with marriage, nothing happened. So he said he is happy, he retired. He said, look, during my 3 years of my tenure as a chairman of Canara Bank, I do not want me or my bank to be in the front page for the wrong reasons. That's all security is for him. I think that is what people want ultimately. So keep that in mind. How do you give them the comfort or assurance? Okay. That is the positioning which you need. Okay. So thank you all. Thanks for inviting me, and have a great, enjoyable and educative session for the day.